Come on, Livingston, we're gonna go on and on and on. Together we can make it. We're gonna go on and on and on. Come on, Livingston.
Knocks it through. Mullen bursting into the box. Josh Mullen.
Together we can make it.
Mullen's ball across. It's turned in. It's Pittman who's got it. Livingston leads.
Can they get the ball back in? O'Brien. Lead! And Livingston have the lead! Man, score.
If we march to
The full-time whistle blows and David Hay celebrates. And the Livingston fans join in exultation.
come on, Livingston.
Livingston have the lead against Rangers, and they are certainly rising to a few occasions on their return to the top flight in Scotland.
Come on, Livingston. We're gonna
It's the return of TalkLivi. We bring a special COVID-19 edition of the podcast this week. It's TalkLivi Lockdown. My name's Andy and I'm joined by Ewan and Callum. So in case you're wondering, we're being socially responsible today. We're coming to you via Skype, so apologies if the audio isn't great, but we are trying our best to bring you something after the last few weeks without football, so hopefully this is a cure for some of your boredom. Anyway, boys, what's coming up on this special edition?
So COVID-19, the virus that has stopped the nation. We talk about the impact of it on football across the country.
We'll look back on the season as it stands, discussing the highs and lows, best goals and best and worst results.
What does your fox in returns? Our take on the TV show Room 101.
And finally, we take a look at our Dream Livi 5-a-side teams. Why did we select who we did, and who wins from our three teams?
So it's been a few weeks now since any football has been played. Obviously, if you're living under a rock for the last wee while, this is due to the worldwide pandemic, COVID-19, the coronavirus. All sport has been stopped and all social events have been cancelled, which means no income for football clubs, who obviously heavily rely on that to survive. It's a pretty worrying time, boys.
No, it is a really worrying time for clubs. As you kind of just touched on there, Callum, there's a lot of clubs, especially in Scotland, who rely on week-to-week income coming through home gates and things like that, which they're not getting. I mean, if you take Livi as an example, if we were to finish in the top six, we've potentially got our remaining home games would be Hearts, Aberdeen, possibly Hibs, possibly both the Old Firm as well. Those are probably the five biggest gates you'll get in a season. But those are your potential home games between now and the end of the season, which is huge financially for the club, and they're obviously not getting that. And some clubs are needing to take drastic action to try and make ends meet during this period, because the other thing is that they don't have a time scale as to when this will end. So that's the biggest worry, I think, for clubs. But it's, the common word that's getting used just now, it's unprecedented times. Nobody knows how to really handle the situation, but I think Livi have handled it very well, to be honest. I've been really impressed with how folk behind the scenes have dealt with it, and I think we'll manage to come out of it in reasonably good nick. I think
We've started an operating fund, haven't we? And that's gone really well, Andy.
Yeah, brilliant idea. I think it's something we've been screaming out for a while. A lot of fans had mentioned it prior to this all happening, about sort of getting something lined up as a monthly donation by fans, and it's great to see so many people signing up to it. I think there was a little statement out the other day there saying we're going to be bringing in 6,000 a month, which is about 86,000 a year, which is absolutely incredible, and it'll go a long way to securing the sort of financial stability of the club. On the whole, sort of what's going on just now, it is an unprecedented situation, and it is really difficult for clubs in all walks, all divisions in the country, all leagues in the world. I think we just need to look at the way Hearts have had to deal with the situation. Hearts are one of the biggest clubs in the country, And there's a big lot of talk that they're cutting wages 50%, staff are going down 50%, everybody in the club down 50%, and that's a big impact on a lot of people's livelihoods.
And Budge decided to take that action before kind of the furlough leave and everything like that was brought in by the government. But, everyone talks about how much footballers earn, etc., right? But, for example, you'll have Stevie Naismith, right? He'll probably be one of the highest earners at Hearts. But the thing is, he'll probably have a lifestyle that reflects his income. And even asking him to go and take a 50% cut's massive. But then they were talking about how they won't let anyone go below the living wage, which is just over 18,000. If you go from being on a salary of 36 grand a year, which is quite a good salary, then being told you're going to be put on to 18, that's astronomical, for your financial state.
Yeah.
I think that, yes, Anne Budge was trying to be proactive, but I think she's potentially making it very difficult for staff.
We sometimes live in a little bubble in the football world, don't we, as fans as well? All we seem to think about is the players and the coaching staff, but sometimes we forget about the guys in the background who do all the work and keep things going, the receptionists, the cleaners, the dinner people, the chefs. All of these people at Hearts as well, they've all got a livelihood, and if they've got bills going out on a certain wage that they were expecting and they're being told, well, actually, you're going to be dropping down to the minimum wage, and it's a worrying time for them as well. And I think we've got to remember that. We can't forget that these people are a big thing in football as well, that we do forget about sometimes, don't we?
Yeah, you touched on the chef. I think we need to give a big shout out to Mo, Livi,
Absolutely.
School, who's been in the club making 40 meals a day for community projects around West Lothian. Again, it just shows the progression the club's made and how they're responding kind of to the community in times of need. So big shout out to Mo for what she's doing.
The players phoning everybody with the operational fund. That's a touch of class feel as well.
Do you know, I think through all of this, it's quite funny. It's amazing how clubs have reacted. I've looked across the whole of Scottish football, and without sort of trying to be too biased, I honestly think that Livingston have dealt with it the best in the country. The way we're handling it, we've been pretty open with statements regarding players' wages and staff wages. We've been pretty open with fans. We're doing all of this, as you say, in the community. We're trying to keep in touch with fans by doing sort of daily and weekly question and answer sessions over social media, lots of videos and different things going up. I think the club's been really good, and they've come out of this with some good credit, I think.
I was just saying, I remember when, for example, when Josh Mullen left the club, people criticised the club due to the communication. Most fans kind of found out when from Ross County's Twitter that he'd left. He was obviously a great servant at the club. But now we're seeing the club, as you were saying there, they're communicating brilliantly with the fans, letting us know, not daily updates, but kind of sort of weekly updates about what's going on in every situation as well, which is a huge credit to everyone involved.
Yeah, absolutely. I think so. Having said all of that, and regarding the sort of impact on Scottish football and things, we're now in a scenario where we've played 30 of the 38 league games, and it's kind of been cut short. No one knows what's happening. What is the ideal scenario for Livingston, and then what would be your sort of choice on how the league sort of format goes from now? What do you think, lads?
Ideally for us, if we're talking about at the moment, well, we're fifth in the league, aren't we? So, I mean, that would be tremendous now at the moment. But if the league was just finished as it is, we obviously wouldn't want it null and void, because the achievements have been phenomenal this season. What we've all done. It's a tough one, isn't it? I've kind of been dilly-dallying on what I'm going to say on this. You could say summer football maybe, but again, we don't know when this is going to end. So it is really a tough one. There's been talk of maybe scrapping the League Cup next season and all this. In Belgium, they've already declared that. I think they've finished it as it is in Belgium, not as null and void.
I think in Belgium they only had one game to play, to be fair, so I think it was a lot easier for them. to go and just kind of finalise the league table as it was. I think
It's different. If you're going to do one thing, and for example, one club up the top of the league is not going to be happy about it, and if you do the other thing, the other club up the top of the league is not going to be happy about it. So it's really a difficult situation for the authorities.
I don't envy their task, because, as you say, it is a really difficult scenario to be in. I agree with you on the first part, Callum. The ideal scenario for Livi is for it to be left as is and prize money paid out, and fifth in the league would sort of show a great progression for the club, and only the second time ever would have finished in the top six. And that would have been something to be very proud of. Would take our prize money. That would continue our kind of upward financial trajectory that we've been on over the last few years as well. Regarding what will happen with the current season, again, it's really difficult. As you mentioned, lots of scenarios, voiding the season, which wouldn't be great. Leaving it as is, as you mentioned, Celtic would be absolutely delighted with that. Rangers not so much. You'd then look at the relegation contenders and go, well, Hearts are only 4 points behind. They're not going to take that line down. And then you've got Dundee United who come up, but you've also got the playoff scenario. No one's been speaking about the playoff scenario. What happens with Hamilton, who are sitting 11th, and what happens with the Inverness and Ayr United and Dundee, who are sitting in the playoffs in the Championship. Sometimes we forget about the impact on these lower league teams as well. They'll be hoping to gain promotion, won't they?
there is not a scenario where you're going to please everyone. That's the biggest problem. So, they need to look at the route of trying to please the most folk possible. Now, I would go along the lines of average points over the 30 games, or how many games each team's played. I think in the Premiership, that would only change one league position, which is St Johnstone and Hibs. Again, that would probably be an ideal scenario for Livi. But then you'll have Hearts going, well, we're not getting relegated on a technicality when we've got 8 games to play. Yeah, we've been terrible for 30, but we could be brilliant in those last 8. You just don't know. And Dundee United aren't going to go, well, you're not denying us promotion, and leaving the league as it is, null and void in it. We're how many points clear? Almost 20 points clear or something like that.
Yeah.
They're not going to turn around and go, well, you're not stopping us getting promotion. So it's, as I say, it's really difficult. There is an opportunity for Scottish football to restructure it.
There's a lot of talk about the restructure, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a bit of talk about that. As you touched on, Callum, there's a potential opportunity to almost trial summer football. You've got the World Cup in 2022 coming up, where it is going to be a Winter World Cup, so it might almost be a good time to trial that. But as I say, it's a scenario I really don't envy the footballing authorities in the country to deal with, because they're going to upset people regardless of what they choose to do.
Yeah, is there an option then? When we're talking about restructuring the setup and things, a lot of talk about 14 teams with nobody getting relegated and Dundee United and Inverness coming up. Would there be an option then because a lot of people aren't convinced by the 14-team scenario, but a lot of people over the years have discussed the 16 teams. Would it be an option to promote 4 teams from the Championship and bring teams up through the league? So the Lowland League, for example, the Highland League, sort of a team from each of those leagues coming into the Football League to cover that gap for the season, just to see how it goes. And you could even have a 2-team relegation scenario to bring it back down over the next sort of couple of years.
For me, I don't think Scottish football needs a 16-team top flight.
I agree, yeah.
For the size of country, etc., I don't think it needs a 16-team top flight. And then you go and make it 16 teams in the top flight, as you say, it's restructuring everything, really. You're talking about pulling teams in from the Lowland League and then the Highland League and everything like that as well. So you're restructuring right down to the very core of the game, where they've already been doing a pyramid setup, with the conferences and stuff like that, and the kind of East Super League and things like that. So there would be a lot of restructuring just to make our top flight 16 teams. I think there's a lot more to it than just 4 teams moving up.
I'm not a fan personally of the restructure, but if it came down to that, as opposed to null and void, then I'd be totally for the restructure. I just don't think you can, at this stage in a season, completely abolish a football season. I think that would be ludicrous.
Well, I think that scenario has to be sort of thrown out the window right away. I think that would open a lot of can of worms in regards to sponsorships. At the end of the day, if you avoid the season, you're turning around and saying that season didn't happen. So a lot of teams would be open to financial destruction if sponsor turned around and says, well, we want our money back. If you're saying that season didn't count, then when we didn't sponsor you, so I think that scenario has to be sort of shelved and not even discussed and thought about. I kind of like the idea of the summer game. I've always been a fan of trial in the summer football scenario. I think we need to find a sort of relevance in the game in Scotland, because at the moment we're still competing with the big leagues across Europe and across the world. I mean, especially with England, we're always compared to the English sort of leagues. Whereas if we went to that summer season, we'd be standing alone alongside the likes of Ireland and things. And I'd like to think we'd get more games on the telly because Sky are screaming for sport to be put on the telly during the summer. So I'd like to think that would be an option. Certainly something I've been a big fan of over the years and sort of big advocacy of is trial in summer football. And this is the ideal time to try it, I think.
As I say, you've got the World Cup in 2022 as a Winter World Cup as well. So you're going to have to tweak your season regardless. Come then, why not tweak it now in preparation for that?
This season, I think, as soon as we're allowed out, we're off this lockdown, it's safe to play football. I think we should just finish the season, whatever it takes. It's going to be probably tough on the players' legs, maybe midweek, Saturday midweek, or whatever it takes, and then we go from there. Whenever that may be, we go from there and we look at the season. I don't think people are going to be bothered at this rate. I'm not bothered. I'm honestly couldn't care less at this moment and when football starts, because I'd watch probably Burnley Stoke at the moment. I'm not twiddling thumb. So,
what about then? Like when everything's sort of confirmed and we can get back to some form of normality, but they're saying crowding is still an issue. What about playing these games behind closed doors and under sort of in a month of football, shall we say, 2 games a week for a month, and that gets your 8 games played and out the way, a break of maybe 3 weeks, and then the new season starts again. What about that?
I don't think clubs in Scotland will be a fan of closed doors because, as I kind of started, the first point was the income side of things. A lot of these clubs rely on that weekly income or fortnightly income from a home game. You don't get that with behind closed doors game. I know UEFA have just lifted the 3 o'clock on a Saturday restriction on TV for England and Scotland. So, they could be prepping themselves to go and try and get the games behind closed doors. But I know Liam Craig, who's the chairman of the PFA, who plays with St Johnstone, he came out and said the players won't go out and just play behind closed doors for the sake of getting games played. They're not going to go out until they deem it safe for themselves to do that, even if it is behind closed doors. So, I think there's a unity with the players in the country as well, that they're not just going to go and play games for the sake of getting games played. They'll only do it when it's safe to do so as well.
You look at us, for example. We've not been confirmed top 6 yet. Motherwell are pushing for Europe. They've not been confirmed yet. Celtic are basically champions, but again, not confirmed. You're looking at these 3 clubs. Imagine they achieve those feats and there's no fans in the stadium when they do it.
Yeah, no, I absolutely. I'm just kind of throwing some scenarios out there because there's no real right and wrong answer at the moment. I don't think with the position we're in. As we've kind of mentioned and touched on, it is a really tough situation, and I'm really glad I'm not sitting in that chair of having to make the decision on what the decision is and how we progress. But I think we can all agree that the sooner football's back, the better for everyone. But yeah, anyway, good wee chat about the whole COVID-19 situation. We're not experts, obviously, on what's going on, but hopefully this can all come to an end sooner rather than later, and we can all get back to the thing we all love, which is football and following Livingston. With the season coming to an abrupt end after only 30 of the 38 scheduled games completed, and with no end in sight as to what will happen going forward, we felt this was a good time to review the season as it stands. So it's been a pretty good season, hasn't it?
Yeah, I mean, currently on track to finish our highest position since 2002, our first season in the top flight. And it would only be the second time that we've finished in the top six in our history if it was to get finished as it stands, or if we get the games played, etc. But it's been an unreal season, especially taking into account that kind of blip we had, where we only won once in 13 games. Where we're sitting just now, it's an outrageously good season.
Kind of a distant memory, relegation worries now. It's been a brilliant season. We're on track, of course, to beat last season's points tally as well, which was probably the target this year.
Yeah, that's been the religious line, hasn't it, from Gary? One more point than last year, so it was going for 45. So that's been the religious line from Gary and the players all season. So, but at the end of the day, one more point than last season it's an improvement. So
it's progression, isn't it? I think as well. At the start of the season, even your most hardened Livingston fan, never mind fans from other clubs and pundits out there, had all kind of put us down as struggling at the bottom, with the turnaround in the squad that we had. And we've spoke about this quite a lot over the sort of seasons doing the podcast, losing the major spine of our team that was such a success, or what we thought was such a success last season, and Halkett and Gallagher, Byrne, Hardy, Miller, Kelly, yeah. All these guys moved on, and we all kind of had our concerns that how are we going to replace these guys? And I think it's great credit to the coaching staff and the team that's bringing these players in, how well we've done, because you look at it now, and fans are actually starting to compare the likes of John Guthrie to Craig Halkett. Now, who would have thought that at the start of the season?
Well, you look at the guys that have come in to the spine of that team, as you say, the likes of Guthrie, Bartley, Dykes. They're probably three of our best players this season, who you would probably nominate as player of the season. That shows you how good the recruitment's been. The guys that they've brought in to replace some of these players that you would almost said were irreplaceable last year, they've come in and they've pushed us on another gear. And
it kind of laughs in the face of these pundits. Some we prefer more than others, but I can't remember seeing a pundit at the start of the season that didn't predict us to finish bottom, or at least second bottom. So it kind of goes hand in hand with the club's ethos just now, that we're out to prove people wrong every year, and we're doing that every year, and long may that continue.
I've touched on it a lot. I think where we've gone right this season is our squad depth. I think if you look at our squad, well, our teams throughout the game, it's not usually the same 11 every week. I think we've rotated well, and every time we do that, I think every time we chop and change, we make a couple of changes. Don't think the team gets worse whatsoever.
I think that's the biggest strength of the squad, is you can make changes to it without it deteriorating the quality on the park.
Yeah.
And as you say, it's managed in particular times, like for example December and February, we had quite a lot of games that we were playing those months, and it's allowed us to keep the squad really fresh, but as I say, keep the quality on the park as well. Which again, it shows how they've gradually, Gary and Davey, built a really good squad, which I think a few teams in the league would probably envy, having the depth that we've got.
Absolutely. So saying all of that, I've got a few questions written down here, and probably a good one to start with, seeing as how we've kind of led with that, is the best 11 of the season. So we'll start with you, Callum. What are you thinking for your best 11 of the season? It's really difficult, actually.
Got to be Sarkic in goals, you would say.
Yeah, I'd agree with that.
Right back to a wee bit of a tough one. I thought Devlin started brilliantly. Obviously, the injuries maybe not been great for him. Jack McMillan, I don't think's put a foot wrong really. I'd probably have him in as my right back. The back four, John Guthrie's a cert for me.
Yep.
He's been excellent. Puffy, who would you say for centre halves? Should we do like a combined team or?
Yeah, we can do. So I've got down here, so I agree with you on Sakic, and I had my centre-back pairing as Guthrie and Brown. I know Brown came in January, but I think he's been very good.
I would have said the same. I think Brown's not really put a foot wrong since coming back. I think he's, again, been a really astute bit of business. It wasn't one that got fans, I wouldn't say particularly excited, but I think obviously Gary and David knew him from last season, and he's come in and he's just been really steady at centre half, and I think he's complimented Guthrie.
He's proved a lot of people wrong, myself included.
Yeah.
Well, I remember suggesting him a while ago on a podcast because we were talking about getting a left-sided defender, and I said, why not have a look at Brown? And it turned out the management team had actually looked to try and get him in the summer.
They may be listening to you.
And you'd pair turned your nose up at me when I suggested Brown, and now you're talking about him being in our team of the season.
Well, there you go. It's amazing how things change, eh? So we're talking about the defence at the moment, and you mentioned the sort of question marks over right back. So I still jotted down Nicky Devlin. I know he's been out for most of the season. And left back, I had McMillan. I know we were discussing, and you kind of mentioned McMillan for right back. I put McMillan down for left back, and it was kind of a flip of a coin between him and Aaron Taylor-Sinclair, who I know came in and scored a few important goals.
For me, I would, as good as I think Devlin's been when he has been fit and available, I'd put McMillan at right back because I think Jack's been outstanding this season. I think he's one of the underrated players of the season for us. And I would probably go Taylor Sinclair because I think he's taken a few folk by surprise, actually.
Yeah,
good he's been.
I agree.
Very steady. And, as you said, he's popped up with a few quite important goals as well. So I would probably say those would be my full backs, but I agree on the centre back pairing.
What about the other option, Steve Lawson at right back then? Because he came in and done well when he came in to that position. Just as a sort of throw it out there option.
When Lawson was good at right back, he was really good. When he had an off game, he had a really off game. And whilst I think Jack's just been, he's been that constant 7 or 8 out of 10. Called season, Jack. Whether you've put him at left back, whether you've put him at right back. And I think that's testament to the lad that he's been so versatile going between the two positions as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
If we're talking about back fours, then are we all agreed? McMillan, Brown, Guthrie, Taylor Sinclair?
Happy with that.
I'd go with that.
So we'll then move on to the, I presume we're going with the 4-2-3-1 that was played for most of the season. So we'll go to the two sitting midfielders. I'd wrote down here Bartley, who is, I would imagine we're all agreeing on. He's been a sort of massive player for us this season. And alongside him, I put Craig Sibbald, who I think has massively improved us as a team since he's came in. I
agree. I
can't disagree.
I think as a sitting pair, I think they really complement each other. You've got Bartley, who he does your ugly stuff, breaking up the game, kind of shielding the back four, and then the ball. I always say with a sitting pair, you need your kind of destructive player and your ball player. I think Sibbald's that one that kind of keeps the game ticking over all the time. I think Sibbald, it shows you the turn in form he's had since he came into the team. The results on the park actually improved when Sibbald kind of came in, but then he's also got an extension, a 2-year extension to his contract as well in the back of that form. I think it's harsh on Robbie Crawford because I think Rab's been a brilliant signing. I thought played a really, really rate, but I think that injury, his injury actually helped Sibbald in a way.
So I was actually going to say honourable mention to Robbie Crawford, who you took the words out of my mouth. I think he's been an excellent signing, and really unlucky that he got the injury when he did, because I think if he hadn't got the injury, things might have played out totally differently. Sibbald might not even be here if Robbie Crawford didn't get that injury.
We were talking about Craig Sibbald potentially leaving the club because he wasn't getting enough game time, and now he's probably going to be in our team in the season. I think obviously there's a special mention as well to Keegan Jacobs, you could say. He's been excellent. I think when he's come in as well, he works hard, especially in the big games. Your Celtics and your Rangers, he's one of the standout performers in those games, closing down players, man marking, etc.
He's a bit of a go-to in those games, isn't he, Keegan?
Yeah.
You know you can give him a job to do. I know a couple of times last season in particular he was given the job of man marking Rogic, and Rogic didn't get a sniff in those games, just as an example. But he always seems to come into those games and he just thrives in them, I think.
I think it's testament to Keegan that he's in his professionalism, that he's probably not playing as much as he would hope to, but he gets his head down, and when he does get that chance, he comes into the team and gives that 100% that Livingston players have to give, otherwise they just don't get a sniff in the team.
He'd be given a job on probably the best player in the opposition. We saw him do it on Rogic last season in the 0-0. He's done it a few times this year against both the old firms. So, yeah, that's who I'd probably liken him to. And he's been brilliant this season.
Let's move on to our three in behind. Starting right-hand side. I think that one as well is an absolute shoe-in, which is Stevie Waller.
Certainly.
Don't think we need to spend too much time on that. That's a fairly obvious one. His assists and his goals tell its own story, but his all-round general play has been excellent.
Yeah, I think again last season I think he was good last year, but obviously he was playing a bit deeper as a winger back, as he always likes to call it. This year, when he's got pushed further forward, he's a totally different animal, Wallace. And as you say, the stats going back up with his goals and assists, I think it's in the league, I think he's got 6 assists and it's 8 goals, but I think he's got 10 overall goals.
Yeah.
Which is a great return. You know, you look at Ryan Kent, for example, at Rangers, would cost £7 million. He's not even got an assist. So, you know, it just shows you the quality that Steve's brought to the team this year, playing further forward. What we'll do is we'll move into that number 10 role almost. Who would you say is your player in there?
Again, I think it's a fairly obvious one. Pittman. I think there has been spells this season where he's probably, he would probably admit himself that he's not been as good as what we would expect him to be, but every player has a dip in form, don't they? But I think generally he's been very consistent, and I think he gets that spot hands down.
I think he had a wee dip in confidence as well from the injury. I think that affected him a wee bit, but he's come back from that now. He had a wee dip in form, but overall he's probably been the best player in that position. Yeah,
I mind. I think it was the first game he missed in his kind of spell on the sidelines was we beat St Mirren 2-1 near the start of the season, and David Martindale said, I think Pitts has missed one game in 4 years. You know, so for him to have a wee injury like that, where he's out for maybe a couple of months, it will knock his confidence. And I think Pitts is quite a confidence player. But you can see, probably just after we came back from the winter break, he scored the winner against St Johnstone, and I think he really started to you could see him getting back into his rhythm again. Pitts is one of those players, when Pitts is fit, I think he's one of the first names on your team sheet for what he gives you.
Absolutely.
Even when Pitts has an off day, you'll never ever question the lad's effort and commitment. It's never through a lack of trying with Pitts.
So I think the striking option is fairly secure, but the sort of left-hand side, there's some debate to be had on the left-hand side of the park. And I jotted down Scott Robinson. For his sheer consistency, I really rate him. I think he makes us better. His experience helps the team as well, which is 2 or 3 reasons why I went with Scott Robinson. And I know he's not played as many games, but I think he's the one for me that goes into that best 11.
He's not played maybe as many games, but when you give Robbo a job, when he comes in, he gives you that 7 or 8 out of 10. As I say, it's that consistency that you want, and he loves silencing Celtic fans.
He does.
You've got to love that. I would almost have him as my player of the season purely for the 2 moments of ear cupping towards the Celtic fan. But I think Robbo is a terrific footballer, great guy as well, and yeah, I would probably have him in there. And I always think we're a slightly better team when Robbo's playing.
I think he's criminally underrated at Livingston. He's such a good player, and as you said, he makes us so much better, I feel.
So we'll move on to the striking options, and as I kind of just touched on there, I think there's only one, because we've not got many options up front anyway, as everybody kept going on about in January. Lyndon Dykes came in at the start of the season, and he's been one of the signings of the season. He scored umpteen very important goals for us, and he would definitely be that striking option in the best 11 for the season, isn't he?
The number of opposition managers that have singled out Dykes for praise. I know Stephen Robinson, Jim Goodwin in particular have done it, which when the opposition managers are talking about a player like that, it just shows you how good he's been. And I think I think Dykes has kicked us on a gear again. I think last year he was really the ingredient we missed last year, because he suits the way we like to play. He makes everything stick up top. He's a lot quicker than folk give him credit for, and as you say, the goals on top of that. It's a kind of dream first season in top flight football for him.
You talk about strikers, you've got your poachers, your target men, etc. I think he does it all with the goals we've scored this season. He's scored personally. Some are tapping, some right place, right time, headers, volleys. He can go in behind, he can hold the ball up. He's, as you said, I think he's really quick. So he's an absolutely brilliant bargain buy. Yeah.
So just a quick rundown on our best 11 of the season. So we all went Sarkic in goals, McMillan, Guthrie, Brown and Aaron Taylor-Sinclair, with Bartley and Sybil sitting, and then in behind the striker we had Lawless, Pittman and Robinson, and then Dykes up front. It's a pretty good 11 that.
So if you had to pick your player of the season?
Wow, that's such a tough one, that. Player of the season, I'm going to go Bartley.
I'm going Dykes.
I'll go Lawless then.
So what about signing of the season?
Albeit I said Dykes was my player of the year, I would say Guthrie.
I was gonna say Marvin Bartley, but looking at long term and building on the future, Effie Ambrose, I think, is going to kick us on to a whole new level.
It's not a bad shout, actually. Never gave that a thought. I was kind of going along with the lines with you, and I think John Guthries came in and been an absolutely fantastic signing.
A lot of Walsall fans didn't rate him, and obviously, as a football fan, you gauge a bit on what the previous club's fans thought of him, and you kind of thought, he's maybe not going to be the player we're hoping for, but he's been absolutely outstanding. Plus, he scored a few goals as well on top of that as well.
I was just going to say that, and I think we all kind of feared when we lost Halkett's goals that where are these goals going to come from, but Guthries came in and just replaced them basically. Yeah. So that's the reason kind of why I've went with Guthrie as well. So what about, and I think there's only probably one that stands out. I think this is probably the easiest question out of the lot. Moment of the season.
I've got two. I
think I could guess the two.
Oh, go on then.
I reckon Lyndon Dykes scoring and Scott Pittman taking out the gaffer.
Hilarity moment is Scott Pittman taking out the gaffer. In terms of games, I would say the Motherwell home game, the 1-0 win, because I'd arguably say that's one of the best Livingston performances I've ever seen. Thought we were so good that day. And then, I mean, it's difficult not to say a 2-0 win against Celtic in the first ever win against them in your history.
Yeah.
I think that's definitely the other one.
It's a tough one. I've written down some games here. I thought we were absolutely exceptional away at Ross County, the 4-1 game.
Yeah.
We played Kilmarnock off the park, beat them 3-0. Beat Hamilton finally away from home. We beat them 4-2 away. I thought that was that showed that we've come through this phase of never beating them. And then the last game before the new year was when I truly started to believe we could get into the top 6 and stay there, and that was when we beat Hibs 2-0.
Yeah. No, good shouts. I think, as you say, it's difficult to ignore the Celtic game, the first one ever over Celtic. For me, that would probably be moment of the season for me, which leads on nicely to worst moment or worst result of the season. There's probably still a few there to choose from.
Worst for me was I'd probably say the 2-1 at Hamilton, because I would say that's probably the one game I can really pick out where I think we've properly underperformed.
There was a few maybe frustrating ones. Was Hibs away and St Mirren away. We were 2-0 up and 3-1 up in those. The game, I would say we were probably the most unlucky in. Probably the most unlucky game I've ever seen in my life. We got beat 2-0 at home by Aberdeen. And Inverness in the Scottish Cup was a bit of a tough one to take, travelling all that way. And, I thought we could have gone on a good run in that. And then the most recent game, St Johnstone away, was probably the worst game of football we've all ever been to.
I thought that was a classic. I hope
Shut
you put
up,
that on
Ian.
BBC whilst we're in lockdown. I'd love to watch that.
I don't think we were that.
This is how much
we were
I miss football. I would happily watch that again.
I think so. I kind of went along the same lines as you, Callum. Worst moment for me was definitely that equaliser at Easter Road by Martin Boyle. Basically, last kick of the ball I could have regret that night after that. Worst game or worst result was the Hamilton one for me. It was just again, it kind of went hand in hand with our record at Hamilton, which is one of the most frustrating things over the years was our poor performances at Hamilton, so that would be up there for that. So finally, through this sort of rundown, goal of the season then.
Goal of the season for me is Dykes against Celtic. Totally outrageously good.
Gotta be Jack Stobbs, no?
Yeah, that's what I had as well. Jack Stobbs, it was an incredible finish.
Yeah, that one. I don't know how I forgot about that one, to be honest. I think I've just totally forgotten about Jack Stobbs.
Yeah, it was an incredible finish up there. And as you say, it's up there for a moment of the season for me. We travelled in quite good numbers that day up to Dingwall, and we made a bit of a racket there to score 4 goals away from home. We've not done that very often in the Premiership, and obviously that goal kind of typified that game. It was an absolute peach. So yeah, I would say that as well.
Honourable mentions to Craig Doubled. He scored away at Hamilton. That tremendous volley, and then Dykes' hat trick. He scored a perfect hat trick.
Yeah, those goals as well. Well, Sibbald's was perfect. Perfect hit against Hamilton. Took his one at Easter Road well as well. Actually, a couple of goals that Tibbs has scored. We've scored a few really good ones this season. Robbo's against Celtic as well. Great pass by Crawford. Great little reverse ball. But I think, yeah, Stobbs is probably the best in terms of the quality. But I think Dykes' finish against Celtic, to lob a 6'7" goalkeeper from there is just outrageous. And it's a brilliant pass by Sarkic as well.
Yeah, definitely. I think what we'll do is we'll maybe put these questions to you listeners. We'll pop it on Twitter and Facebook, and you can kind of answer them as well, and we can compare answers and see if you agree or disagree with us. Probably disagree. You have done most of the season, certainly with me anyway. But we'll put that up on our socials for you to answer. Keep a lookout for that. That's been a season review. It's been quite a lot of fun sort of discussing that and what a brilliant season it's been. And yeah, hopefully we can get back to some football and maybe complete the season, and we can do an end of season review as well.
Time for the return of What Does Your Fox In? Our take on the TV show Room 101. If you've not listened before, basically we argue something that really annoys us in the football world. We appeal to you to vote on our social media, and it's entirely up to you to decide what does your fox in the most. So, for the first time in what feels like forever, and in the name of one of our most Marmite players of all time, Rooney, what does your fox in?
Getting too attached to loan players. I'm obviously a big fan of the loan market. We've benefited from it over the years, I feel, but I don't know. It's just a bit sad, really, when you get attached to a loan player. Maybe the likes of Ryan Hardy, for example, Liam Kelly, when and his first spell at the club, guys like that who did very well at the club, and you can't hold on to them. Probably just that. I think that sums it up.
We've had a few of those type of players over the last few seasons in particular. I mean, go to the likes of Penrice is one.
Yeah, James Penrice, exactly, yeah.
Penrice, Jordan Thompson is a player I've highly rated, and he's gone on to do really well down south now.
Even some this season.
Yeah, I mean, Sarkic, Hardy is another one as well. You know, we've actually had quite a few, but again, that's quite a bit of credit to the management team in identifying these players. But
in regards to it doing your fox in though, Callum, is it not the same for every player that we get attached? But at the end of the day, we're a selling club at Livingston, and players will come and go. I mean, a lot of talk over the season about Lyndon Dykes. I'm sure we've all got attached to him, but if a club came in with an offer we couldn't refuse, he's going to move on. So is it not just the same as that? It's not just the loan market, surely?
Kind of knowing all that Dykes is our player, for example. It's knowing all along that this player isn't your player, and you're going the whole time, don't get attached. Don't get attached. We're going to leave you. They're going to leave you, and boom, they've left, and you love them.
Is it like the girlfriend that you knew was out of your league, and you knew you'd lose her?
Exactly, mate.
And you get attached, and then you lose her anyway.
That's
it. You always knew it would happen. That's what a really good loan player is.
I get what you're saying, Cam. I think it's quite funny when we talk about Ryan Hardy and Liam Kelly and that. Ewan mentioned the one that I always look back on, James Penrice. I really rated him. I thought he was terrific. I liked his style of play. Could play in multiple positions, and I get what you're saying, because I got really attached to him being at Livingston, and I got myself to a stage where I thought he'll definitely come back to Livingston. He's from Livingston, he was a big player for us. The fans loved him, and it never happened, and that's always been a big devastating moment for me that he's never returned.
And that was only 6 months.
Yeah. So it's fair enough. Yeah, I get your point.
Andy, what does your fox in?
Again, maybe controversial. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. But what does my fox in is the Champions League. Now, bear with me. The Champions League, the name itself is misleading, because there's teams in that competition that aren't even champions of their own leagues. So how they can call it the Champions League for a start is just...
So is that what does your fox in?
No, listen to the
name of it
the Champions League. The Champions League does my fox in. And the reason why, you just look at last year's winners, Liverpool. When was the last time they won their league? And they won the Champions League, but they haven't won their league in how long? You know, that's...
Is it the name then that does your fox in, rather than
the Champions League as a whole? It should be champions, not teams that finish fourth in the league that are entering that competition.
It's the European Cup, though, isn't it? Let's be honest.
Yeah, so it should be called the European Cup, or if it's called the Champions League, it should only be champions that are allowed in it. I just don't see how it can be called the Champions League when all these teams haven't won the league, haven't won their domestic league, are in it. It's not the Champions League then, is it?
And to beat some of the champions need to go through 74 qualifiers to qualify. That would do my fox in more.
Well,
but that's what I mean. That's the Champions League.
Example. Celtic need to go through 4 qualifying rounds to get into the Champions League.
Absolutely, that's my point. The Champions League as a whole does my fox in, because the way it's built. As you say, Celtic have to qualify for 4 rounds. Ajax, for example, one of the biggest clubs in the world in Europe, having to qualify for the Champions League despite winning their league. It's just ridiculous. It's not the Champions League. Top four, it's all sort of along the lines of the big leagues in the world. Your Spanish league getting how many? Four places, 3 places, or four. Germany getting their places, England getting 4 places, and then you've got Scotland champions. As much as we hate to say it, Celtic, one of the biggest clubs in Europe, despite sort of being behind financially, having to go through 4 qualifying rounds. Ajax, Champions League semi-finalists, amazing youth structure, biggest club and one of the biggest clubs in the world having to qualify. It's just nonsense to me. The whole Champions League setup, that's what does my fox in.
Well, we'll move on to me. So what does my fox in is, I'm sure all of you have been on social media and you've seen English football fans come out with the phrase, my gran could play in Scotland. That does my fox in, right? Because there are so many examples that show that your gran probably couldn't play in Scotland. For example, Joey Barton came up to Rangers, thought he was going to be Bertie Big Bollocks, stroll the league, and then Ali Crawford nutmegged him on his debut. Right? Nico Kranjčar is another one. This isn't me having a go at Rangers recruitment, but it just so happens you've signed a few duds. Right? Nico Kranjčar, again, he came up here, hopeless, absolutely hopeless. Right? The other thing, you look at the game down south. I think it's just plastic now. It's lost its heart and soul. Right? Yes, the football up here might not be great, but tell you what, I would never change Scottish football for some of the things you get. Like, what grounds in England you go to that have a big hedge, that folk get excited about seeing a hedge, right? What grounds in England will you get a pie on a roll like you do at Alloa? Scottish football is absolutely bloody tremendous, right? And
passionate.
The derogatory comments you get from the Ponces down south, right, when they go to the football and spend a gazillion pounds on a season ticket to watch absolute just boring dross most weeks in the Premier League. That league has ruined football down there for me, the Premier League. It's lost all its heart and soul.
Money has ruined football down south.
Right. But it's that derogatory comment from the English football fan. But you know what? Our football's still pure up here. And I would never change it. But it's that derogatory comment from the English football supporter towards the Scottish game that does my fox in.
That was a really heartfelt appeal. I felt that, Ewan.
It really does do my head in.
So congratulations to you, and you can obviously find the polls on what? That's that, I believe.
Yeah. Let's be honest. Callum, I don't think you've got a hope in hell this week. I think
I normally slate your option because you constantly contradict yourself when you pick your fox in. The one that still grates me is your Premiership, Premier League thing, right? But I actually think yours has a lot of merit for a change.
Oh, that's good to know. I'm glad that you've said that, Ewan. It's made my day. It's made my isolation day today, you saying that. Thank you, Ewan. Anyway, as Callum said, we'll put the polls on our social media, on Twitter, likely Tuesday time, and you can decide what option out the 3 does your fox in the most. So look out for that.
During the week, we put a wee grid together on social media featuring players past and present, and we asked you to pick your best 5-a-side team from the options, but with a strict budget of £15. We all picked our dream Livi 5s team and thought we'd have a little debate on this before finishing up on who we choose. So why and who would win between the 3 of us? Ewan made quite a bold statement when picking his team. Ewan, what was your team, and remind us of that?
Well, my team, I decided to go for Liam Kelly in between the sticks. Reason for Liam, good shot stopper, can save penalties, and he's so vocal. You always want that person at 5s that's just vocal, tells you wherever you need to be, who to pick up. I think Liam would be a perfect keeper for 5. Then from a defender, I think £2 was an absolute bargain for Eric Delamo. I mean, classy centre half, good on the ball, just marshalling in front of Liam. I think he would be excellent. Then my centre midfielder was Burton O'Brien. Burton O'Brien could be either the Burton O'Brien we first signed at Livi, which was that box-to-box midfield player and can score a few goals. And then when you're leading at 5s and you want to try and hold on to the ball, he can become Burton O'Brien Mark II in his second spell at Livi, which was the quarterback, keep a hold of the ball. Then my attacking midfielder, I think, is arguably the one Livi player I would say was designed to play 5-a-side, which is David Fernandez. I don't think anyone would ever get the ball off him. We're going to win if you have the ball the whole game. And then I had Brian McPhee up top. Again, I thought was an absolute bargain at £2. Big Brian. It's a bloody tremendous thing.
I like how you've thought about it there. You've literally been thinking about that, haven't you, since I sent you over the script?
Not since you made the script. This was going through my decision making at the time when I made my bold statement that this is the greatest Livingston 5-a-side team ever.
Well, I'll respectfully disagree. I think the team I've put together is better. So I'll just kind of run through mine. I've went with Darren Jameson in goals. The reason being is I know Darren has good feet, so he has the option to pick out a pass as well, and just the general penalty king, just constantly he'll save everything that's shot, and that was in full size goals. We're talking about 5-a-side goals, so nothing's going to get past him. Oscar Rubio was my pick for defence because Rubio was one of those defenders that strikers hated to come up against. He battered through you. He wasn't afraid to put a foot in or leave something on the striker. And I'm afraid Brian McPhee wouldn't get a look in with Rubio in the defence. Midfielder Keegan Jacobs, just an absolute power in the midfield. He'll run for days without tiring. Again, the type of player that'll love to put a tackle in. So your team might have a lot of the ball, but my team will destroy that by just going right through them, tackle them. Because at the end of the day, there's no referee in 5s, so you referee yourself. So Jacobs will thunder into tackles, win the ball back, and then give it to my attacking midfielder, which I agree with you on this one, Fernandez, who is, I think every Livi fan that sort of saw us back then would agree, our best ever player. And yeah, I can't disagree with you, was absolutely made for 5s. His touch, his quality, his quickness, his ability just to get away from a player is tremendous. He's the type of player in 5s that'll use the wall to his advantage as well. So I've went for Fernandez there. And up front, to put the ball in the back of the net, and he was very much a box, 6-yard box with type player, Jordan White, who loved to score sort of those close range efforts, and big strong guy who won't get shrugged off by defenders. And so Darren Jameson, Oscar Rubio, Keegan Jacobs, David Fernandez and Jordan White is my 5, and I personally think that's the best 5 to pick out of the options we gave.
Good luck scoring headers in 5s, mate. We've actually gone pretty similarly, Andy. Same first 3, so I've gone with DJ in goals.
Uncreative.
As you said, I think he's very good with his feet. He's obviously a great shot stopper. MD hacks anyone down. He's got the penalty sorted. Centre half, I went Oscar Rubio as well. As you mentioned, tough tackling defender, won't take any shit from any strikers. And he was actually all right with the ball at his feet as well, if I remember correctly. Keegs in midfield as well. An absolute bargain at £2, Mr. Livingston. will run his heart out, and he's good at keeping the ball. I feel Keegan as well, and he'll link up very well with these two forwards. So back in midfield, Robert Snodgrass. He was £4. He's one of the best products we've had in the youth system. Fantastic player. Obviously, look at the career he's had. I think he'd be a perfect fives player. He's good on the ball. He's clever. Got a shot on him as well. Free kicks. Obviously, you're not going to get free kicks at five, but outside of the box, he's got a long range on him as well. And another man that's got that as well is the striker Lee Griffiths, who is, he's famous for those goals against England. Brilliant at shooting from outside the box, but as well could be a penalty box striker as well. Sharp finishing, and maybe not the best player, but I think all fives for your sharp finishing and sharp shooting. He's definitely up there.
Not allowed in the box in fives.
Yeah, well, in and around the box.
Callum, I think you've made a massive schoolboy error. I know you're younger than Ewan and I, but I think you've made a massive schoolboy error in leaving Fernandes out. Fernandes
is an absolute brilliant individual player, but talking about the team, I'd rather have two £4 players than a £5 player and a £3 player.
All you need to do...
Snodgrass and Griffiths combined are better than Fernandes.
All you need to do
that's a statement.
Got in touch with us. David Bingham got in touch with us, and both of them were talking about they would actually leave out. They would only play with three players because they knew they had Fernandes. That's how good he is.
Yeah, that's not how football works. So Callum, it's who scores the most goals. We're not going to agree on this. Just a bit of fun to end the podcast on. As I say, the grid's still on our social media, so if you've not picked your team yet, fire on, find it, pick your team. There's lots of options there. There's a few dubs in there as well. I think we put in Big Attila Christen, who's an absolute hero.
You could dribble it up against the cage, right up the park, I reckon. Nobody would get round.
Then we had Big Lee Matthews, your hero, Ewan, as an option.
He just missed out, did Lee. Managing the side, to be honest.
Oh yeah, that's a good shout. Who would we have managing the side?
I think out of our managers in our history for a five-a-side team, I would say Mark Proctor.
I'm going to go along the same route. I'm going to go Gareth Evans.
Right, okay. Yeah.
For me, John Hughes.
Oh, not a bad shout either.
Notice we've gone for a lot of the technical coaches.
Before you'd actually said anything, Ewan, I was going to go with Gary Boland, but then I realised the sort of route you went down. I thought that's actually quite a good idea.
I was going to go for Kenny Miller, sell the whole team and play himself, but...
Anyway, on that note, just a bit of fun to end the podcast. Feel free to pick your own five-a-side team. It's on our social media, so have a wee look and pick your team. That's it for our special isolation episode of TalkLivi. Obviously, with no football, it's hard to roll out our usual weekly episodes, but we'll try to bring you something each month to take away from some of the boredom. This is also a very good time to thank you all for your support since we started this podcast. It's been a lot of fun to put together, and it wouldn't have been possible without you and the club's support, so thanks again for that.
You can find TalkLivi in the usual places, Facebook, Instagram and Twitter, by just searching for TalkLivi. Hit like and follow so you don't miss anything that we do. You can also find this episode and all of our other episodes on all good podcast streaming sites, including iTunes, Spotify, Castbox, plus many more. Probably quite a good time to catch up with what we've put together over the last year or so. Plenty of player and manager interviews and amongst it. So if you're at a loose end, feel free to give it a listen if you want to listen to our dulcet tones anymore.
All of these episodes are, of course, also available on our website, talklivipodcast.libsyn.com. We're also on YouTube. You can find us there by searching TalkLivi. If you could hit the subscribe button, we'd really appreciate it. And if you want, we'd really appreciate it if you could leave a review on iTunes or YouTube with a comment on the videos and podcasts as well there.
So that's it for this week. As I said earlier, we'll try to put some content out going forward, so keep your eyes peeled for new episodes. But from you and Callum and myself, stay safe, stay at home and save lives, and help our NHS.
West Lothian is our battle cry. This is the place from which we hail. Livingston, oh Livingston, it's up to Ammonvale. Livingston, 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 oh Livingston, oh Livingston, we love it when you score. Livingston, oh Livingston, the Ammonville Lions roar. Livingston, oh Livingston, we realize our vision. Livingston, oh Livingston, into the Premier Division. Livingston, 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 Livingston. West Lothian boys, they play with style. They run until they drop. Livingston, oh Livingston, we're going to the top. Livingston, oh Livingston, you carry all our dreams. When we chant your name, you raise your game and beat the other teams. Livingston, 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 oh Livingston, oh Livingston, we love it when you score. Livingston, oh Livingston, the Ammonville Lions roar. Livingston, whoa Livingston, we realize our vision. Livingston, oh Livingston, into the Premier Division.